It was supposed to be one of the triumphs of President Obama's foreign policy, a Libya without Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi had been one of the world's worst sponsors of terrorism. Families of the 189 Americans murdered on Pan Am Flight 103 in 1988 knew that well. Gaddafi became yet another repressive leader caught by surprise in the Arab Spring of 2010. By the end of March 2011, world leaders are calling for him to go.
Muammar Gaddafi has lost legitimacy to lead, and he must leave.
President Obama adds more than his voice. He orders the Pentagon to provide air support. April 5th, 2011, Gaddafi still holds Tripoli, but the rebels control Benghazi. The State Department sends diplomat Christopher Stevens there. His 12-man team sets up shop in the Tibesti Hotel. June 1st, a car bomb explodes in the parking lot in front of that hotel. Stevens and his team decide it's too dangerous to stay there. In August, they settle on a compound on the west side of the city. Inside the walls are 4 buildings. One is essentially a large residence with a number of bedrooms in it. Another residence has a cantina where the staff eats. Just across the way is what they call their Tactical Operations Center, filled with offices for security staff, phones, and security monitors. Finally, the barracks, a small house by the main gate of the compound. It will house a Libyan security force. Sirte, Libya, October 20th, 2011. Colonel Gaddafi is captured and killed by rebels in his hometown. With Gaddafi gone, Stevens is officially named ambassador. He will spend much of his time at the main U.S. Embassy building in Tripoli. But he'll come to Benghazi often. The State Department upgrades the physical security at that property. Finally, inside the large residence, a fortified safe haven is built. You enter through a heavy metal grill with several locks on it. Tell me about this safe haven.
Simply bars on windows, bars on the wall. You're building a jail cell, basically. Then you're going to get inside, and it's a delay until you can get some relief.
Security on the compound consists of 5 diplomatic security special agents and 4 members of the Libyan government security force called the 17th February Brigade. There is more security at what's called the Annex, now known to be a CIA facility a mile away. Based in Tripoli, but moving around the country, is a Department of Defense site security team. Libya had just got over a civil war, but for the Americans stationed there, the danger was just beginning. April 6, 2012, a bomb is tossed over the wall of the Benghazi compound. June 6th, an IED is placed on the compound's north gate. No one is injured in either incident. That's not the case 5 days later. June 11th, 2012, a convoy transporting Great Britain's ambassador, Sir Dominic Asquith, is ambushed in Benghazi. He isn't hurt, but 2 of his security aides are. Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Wood was the U.S. Security Site Team Commander in Libya.
Clear that was a terrorist attack.
I actually conducted an investigation a couple of days afterwards, walked the ground, took photographs, examined the vehicle. So they knew what they were doing, and it was definitely an assassination attempt by skilled operators.
All told, there have been more than 230 security incidents in Libya in the past year. Ambassador Stevens grows more and more worried and says so in a series of cables sent to Washington, like this one on June 25th, entitled "Libya's Fragile Security Deteriorates as Tribal Rivalries, Power Plays, and Extremism Intensify." He writes, Libyan extremists are, quote, targeting international organizations and foreign interests. That's why Wood and Eric Nordstrom, regional security officer, implored the State Department to keep Wood's SST force in the country beyond its scheduled August departure.
We weren't requesting additional security. We were requesting to keep the security that we had, and that was being taken away.
August 5th, 2012, State decides not to keep the SST in Libya. The MSD team is being reduced as well. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton.
I think that what was motivating the State Department was that if we had security that would have truly been appropriate, it would have been an admission that conditions on the ground in Libya were not safe. And that would have violated the worldview that this had been an administration success.
August 8th, Just 3 days after the State Department pulls the heavy security teams from Benghazi, Ambassador Stevens sends another cable about the, quote, violent incidents that dominated the political landscape. Stevens writes, quote, what we have seen are not random crimes of opportunity, but rather targeted and discriminate attacks. Less than a week later, Lieutenant Colonel Wood and his military site security team would leave the country. September 11th, 2012. That afternoon, a mob gathers at the U.S. Embassy in Cairo, Egypt. They scale the walls and burn the American flag, angry apparently over an obscure anti-Islam video produced in California. While there's plenty of action in Cairo, all is quiet at the compound in Benghazi. Still, sometime before 6 p.m., Ambassador Stevens sends another cable to the State Department, reporting, quote, growing problems with security in Benghazi, and, quote, growing frustration on part of the local residents with Libyan police and security forces. These forces, the ambassador writes, are too weak to keep the country secure.